Welcome to the Explainer. Listen, if you've ever looked at your bank account and thought, where did it all go? You're definitely not alone. It feels like a leak, right? Well, there's actually this invisible force working against us every single day. It's called the automatic economy. Basically, through our phones, those sneaky forgotten subscriptions, all of it, it acts like a giant money magnet, just silently draining our wealth. But okay, today, we're going to stop that drain. We're diving into financial expert Ramit Sethi's exact playbook to completely reverse that flow. We're talking about a system that automates your wealth instead of your spending.
Just to put into perspective why this matters so much right now, think about this number 7 out of 10. Yeah. According to data discussed by Mel Robbins and Ramit Sethi, 7 out of 10 people are literally being left behind in today's economy because they're stuck living paycheck to paycheck. The harsh reality is, a lot of us are actually sabotaging our own futures, sometimes without even realizing it. We just let these little convenience fees and random app subscriptions chip away at our foundation, and before we know it, we fall so far behind that we're actually terrified to even open our bills.
And hey, if you've ever felt that kind of financial shame, you really need to hear this admission from Mel Robbins. She totally opened up and said, for years, my husband Chris and I were nearly $1 million in debt. I would see the bills arrive and just not open them because of the shame and the stress. Wow, right? It's just a really powerful reminder that even these incredibly successful experts haven't always had it perfectly together. I mean, look at Mel today. It proves that catching up is entirely possible. Building wealth isn't just about the math, it's honestly mostly about your mindset.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our agenda for the explainer. We're going to break this playbook down into 5 bite-sized chapters. First, the automatic economy trap, then the conscious spending plan, the 4 money buckets, the magic of automation, and finally, your new money mindset.
All right, section 1, the conscious spending plan, the antidote to financial overwhelm.
So this is where we really need to shift our mindset away from this idea of restriction and punishment. Let's look at a trap a lot of us fall into, the scoreboard mentality. It's basically where we turn money into this endless game that we can never actually win. We're constantly moving the goalposts, staying super stressed because we never define what enough even looks like. We just keep telling ourselves, oh, I'll be happy when I have more. Well, the antidote to that is the conscious spending plan. This is all about knowing your exact numbers, automating your financial growth, and honestly, the best part, spending completely guilt-free on the things you actually love. It replaces that endless stress with absolute control.
Moving on to section 2, the 4 money buckets, simplifying your finances. Okay, so how do we actually pull off this conscious spending plan in real life? Well, Ramit Sethi suggests this absolute Jedi-level strategy, dividing your take-home pay into 4 specific, predictable percentages. Forget about tracking every single penny on some messy spreadsheet. Instead, imagine your entire paycheck just flowing seamlessly into a perfectly balanced wealth-building ecosystem. You've got your fixed costs taking up the biggest chunk, a massive slice dedicated entirely to guilt-free spending, and then 2 equal slices for your future, savings and investments.
Now, the really crucial part here is understanding exactly what goes where. Let's walk through the strict rules for these buckets. Bucket number 1 is your fixed costs, and that should be about 50 to 60% of your take-home pay. These are your true must-pays. We're talking rent or mortgage, car payments, utilities, minimum debt payments, groceries. But Sethi gives a huge warning here. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. Watch out for confusing actual necessities with distractions, like those totally aesthetic glass containers you suddenly need from Amazon, right? Bucket 2 is savings, sitting at 5 to 10%. This is strictly your emergency fund or money for a short-term goal, like a down payment on a house. Then bucket 3 is investments, also at 5 to 10%. This is where the magic happens, where your long-term wealth is actually generated. And finally, the fun one. Bucket 4 is guilt-free spending at 20 to 35%. This is the cash for movies, fancy desserts, or, that expensive cashmere coat. Because your other 3 buckets are completely handled, you literally get to splurge from this bucket with absolutely zero post-purchase dread. How great is that?
Let's hit section 3, the magic of automation, taking human error out. Now listen, those 4 buckets sound amazing in theory, but they will absolutely fail if you rely on your own willpower every single month. To really grasp why automating this is just mandatory, ask yourself this. What do you think happens if you invest exactly $27.40 a day for 40 years? By the way, that daily amount adds up to roughly $10,000 a year. So what happens over 4 decades when you just step back and let compound interest, which Sethi literally calls the 8th miracle of the world, do its thing? You get $4.4 million. Yeah, just staggering, isn't it? Just $27.40 a day turns into over $4 million. But Here is the huge catch that Sethi points out. You have to automate it. You can easily do this using those pocket change apps. See, if you rely on manually transferring that money every day or even every month, the automatic economy is going to steal it first. Those forgotten subscriptions and tiny convenience fees, they will quietly drain that $27 right out of your account before you even realize it's gone. Mathematically speaking, taking human error completely out of the equation is the only surefire way to guarantee you capture that wealth. Which brings us to Section 4, your new money mindset, from punishment to power. Actually implementing this whole framework requires a massive psychological shift. We really need to transition away from looking at money as some sort of punishment and start seeing it as a tool for ultimate power. If you're sitting there right now feeling like, oh man, I've made way too many financial mistakes to ever catch up, I want you to listen to Sethi's advice here. He says you need to stop saying I'm bad with money, period. It's really just an excuse to avoid getting better. Instead, you need to reframe that limiting belief right now. Tell yourself, I haven't learned the skills of money yet, but I'm changing that now. It's a proactive declaration. You are literally just one decision away from a completely different financial life.
And that big decision, it actually starts with a super specific little homework assignment from Mel Robbins. First, just set aside 15 minutes this weekend. That's it, just 15 minutes. Second, assemble your current financial numbers. Get in there, open the bills, look at the accounts. Don't hide from them. Third, figure out which of those 4 buckets we just talked about needs a plug. Are your fixed costs way too high? Do you have literally 0 automated investments right now? Find the leak and plug it.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. Are you ready to stop letting the automatic economy silently steal your wealth? Because you've got the exact playbook now. By setting up your conscious spending plan and putting those 4 money buckets on autopilot, you aren't just preparing to retire early. You are actually giving yourself permission to start living what Ramit Sethi calls your rich life today. No more agonizing over a $5 latte, take control of the big numbers, automate the whole thing, and just let the math work for you. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and seriously, I highly encourage you to carve out those 15 minutes this weekend. Your future self is absolutely going to thank you for it.